Parents, what's the most stupid thing your kid did the moment you stopped watching them? My 4-year-old daughter Pony is what child psychologists would politely call spirited. What I call her is a tiny tornado in pigtails who treats every day like a mission to test the limits of human sanity. Last Saturday, my wife had to work, leaving me alone with Pony for the entire day. I thought I had everything under control. I'd child-proofed the house, planned activities, and even bribed her with the promise of ice cream if she was good. Everything was going surprisingly well until around 2 p.m. when I decided to use the bathroom. Just a quick 2-minute break. What could possibly happen in 2 minutes? Pony, Daddy's going to the bathroom. Stay right here and watch cartoons, okay? Okay, Daddy, she said sweetly, not even looking away from the TV. I should have known that angelic voice was a trap. I was literally gone for 90 seconds. 90 seconds. When I came back, the living room looked like a crime scene. Pony was standing in the middle of the chaos, covered head to toe in what I initially thought was blood, but quickly realized was ketchup. Pony, what did you do? I asked, trying to stay calm. I made art, Daddy, she announced proudly, gesturing to the walls like she was presenting a masterpiece. She had somehow gotten into the kitchen, grabbed the entire bottle of ketchup, and used it to paint abstract designs all over our white living room walls. But that wasn't even the worst part. Our cat, Mr. Whiskers, was sitting in the corner looking traumatized and completely red, like he'd been dipped in ketchup. Pony had apparently decided he needed to be painted too. Pony, how did you even reach the ketchup? It was on the top shelf. She pointed proudly to the kitchen chairs she'd somehow stacked on top of each other like a tiny furniture pyramid. This kid had built a makeshift ladder system in under 2 minutes. But wait, it gets worse. As I'm standing there trying to process the ketchup disaster, I hear this weird bubbling sound coming from the kitchen. I rush over to find that Pony had also managed to turn on the sink, plug the drain, and add an entire bottle of dish soap. The kitchen sink was overflowing with bubbles, and soapy water was cascading onto the floor like a sudsy waterfall. I was making a bubble bath for my toys, Pony explained, as if this was completely logical. Her toys, every single stuffed animal she owned, were floating in the soapy flood like survivors of the Titanic. I'm frantically trying to turn off the water and unplug the drain when I hear another sound that makes my blood run cold. The smoke detector. I run back to the living room to find that Pony had somehow turned on the fireplace, which we never used, and was trying to cook a piece of bread by holding it near the flames with a kitchen fork. Pony, no! I screamed, lunging to grab the fork from her tiny hands. I was making toast like Mommy, she protested as I quickly turned off the fireplace. At this point, I'm standing in my flooded kitchen, covered in ketchup, holding a soggy piece of bread, with a red cat hiding under the couch, and my daughter looking at me like I'm the one being unreasonable. That's when the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, holding a plate of cookies and looking concerned. I heard the smoke alarm and wanted to make sure everything was okay, she said, then stopped mid-sentence as she took in my appearance. I was covered in ketchup and soap bubbles, holding a fork and a piece of wet bread, with my hair sticking up in every direction. Behind me, Pony chose that exact moment to run past wearing nothing but her underwear and my wife's high heels, chasing our traumatized red cat while singing Let It Go at the top of her lungs. Mrs. Henderson just stared for a moment, then slowly backed away and said, I'll just leave these cookies on the porch. After she left, I looked at Pony, who was now trying to put a diaper on the cat, and said, Pony, why did you do all this? She looked up at me with those big innocent eyes and said, because you were gone for so long, Daddy. I got bored. 90 seconds. She got bored in 90 seconds. It took me 4 hours to clean up her 2-minute masterpiece. The ketchup stains are still on the wall because apparently ketchup is basically permanent when applied by a determined preschooler. When my wife came home and saw the aftermath, she just looked at me and said, let me guess, you went to the bathroom? For 90 seconds, I said weakly. She patted my shoulder sympathetically. Next time, take her with you. Pony is currently napping, and I'm sitting here writing this while keeping one eye on the baby monitor.